Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we called the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful, and American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals, and we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, and all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. Mark, are you here? Yes, he's here. Hello, Mark. We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable.
Look, to be clear, Mark Carney is no left-winger. He boasted in that speech of cutting taxes and businesses and so on. In a sense, it makes the speech more interesting. It's a confession by a quote-unquote mainstream Western leader that the world order we all grew up under was based on lies. We were told it was an international rules-based order, and yet, as he says, the powerful countries, namely the US and its allies, would pick and choose which rules they would obey, while trade rules were rigged in their favor. International law applied selectively, depending in practice if the accused was an ally or enemy of the West, and if the suffering of the victim could be exploited for strategic gain, or either ignored or inflicted, depending on the West's supposed interests. And what Mark Carney is talking about here is the end of American hegemony.